Hey, Alina Wilson here with Estimate Mastery, and in this video I'm going to cover what I like to call Xactimate 101. So I've noticed a lot of new people are entering the industry right now, so I figured let's just go back to basics, show you the foundations of how to write an estimate, and I'm going to cover all of that in this video. So let's go take a look. To get started, we're going to log into Xactimate. So I have it loaded here to my desktop. There are 3 versions of Xactimate. I like the desktop version only. It's cheaper and you can get it for the whole year at the least amount of subscription. And, it just works so much faster than the online. And then the mobile version is not great. If you're a roofing exterior contractor, the desktop or online version is where you want to be. If you're a mitigation or restoration contractor, you probably can have your techs use the mobile version, but as an adjuster or as a contractor, you're going to want to use a desktop or a laptop version with either the desktop or online version of Xactimate. So online comes with the professional version, which is also more expensive. So I just stick to the desktop version. That's what you're going to see me use today. Going to the online version and logging in is very simple. You just open up your browser and go over to Xactimate.com. So I'm going to log in here on my desktop and get connected and click login, and that's going to take me to what is called the dashboard of Xactimate. So this is the main part of the program. Whether you're online or on the desktop version, this will look the same. Mobile looks completely different. So we won't be going to the mobile version in this video. We're going to focus on desktop, and online looks very similar to this. So if you're using the desktop version and you do have the professional version, there's a couple things I want to mention here. Especially if you're out in the field a lot, maybe on a laptop, and you want to come back to your office and pull something off the online version onto your PC. This is very important. So let me start here really quickly. You've got the cloud version of Xactimate, and I like to click on all projects so I can see everything that everyone's working on. And here you'll see that I can pull things down from the cloud. So the cloud is a storage area, but it also is the online version. So if I had a professional version and had the online version of Xactimate, I could go onto any computer, go to Xactimate.com and see everything in the cloud and actually work on it. Here with the PC version, I just send things up so they're stored, and then I can pull them back down, if that makes sense. I don't have the online version. The reason I mention this is it can be really frustrating if you are on the online version and you're in all projects and you see something that's locked. Locked means it's checked out onto a PC version somewhere. So when you go to the local here, you can see that I have all these existing. These are all pulled down to my PC version and may not be accessible from the cloud. So if I had the online version, if I had where you could access the cloud and pull things into the online version, actually working in Xactimate online is on the cloud, if you will. The checked out can get really frustrating if you work on stuff at home at night or something like that. So just make sure that if something's checked out, that you understand it's sitting on a local version somewhere. If I ever want to send something back up to the cloud, that's super easy. I can just click on the project and then click on send to cloud over here. Notice if I don't have anything selected, this does not pull up this sidebar. So you do need to select something that's hidden unless you click on a project. Same thing, if I want to pull something down from the cloud, I can go ahead and do that, no problem. And I could just download it right here. Sometimes duplicating it and then downloading it might be a better option for you so that you don't lock out everybody else who needs to see this if you're working, with several estimators. So just those beginning notes here as we get into using Xactimate. I think that's one place that people get a little lost and can't find things. Secondly, on this ribbon, you've got these preferences. I don't go into these in detail here because I have a whole video on how to set yourself up with all the preferences. So you can go find that on YouTube, but these are just defaults, project defaults for you to set up so that, like for instance, on your project, your company header, which is how you brand your estimate, you can actually set this up so that it always brands your estimate with your construction company, or you as the contractor, you as the adjuster, whomever you are. It'll always have that rolling forward. So again, different video. We're not going to go into that here. Tools. This is how you data transfer or send what's called an ESX file out of Xactimate. Yes, you can create PDFs. I'm going to show you how to do that here in a second. But if you want to send your source file to someone so they can make edits, then that's what's called an ESX. Maybe you want to get the adjuster's ESX file, import it, and then add your supplements. You can definitely ask them for that if you want to give that a try. That's where your data transfer comes into play. And then lastly, I need you to know you can go and get your help, tech support here with their e-service center. So you can go to live help, and that'll take you to where you can chat with Verisk and get your questions answered. Also, if you ever need to call in for phone support, be sure to click on About Xactimate, because they're going to ask you for this product key code. So just a couple of high-level things here out in the dashboard of Xactimate that I need you to know. But let's go ahead and start a new project and get our feet wet on how this estimating process works. So we're going to click on New Project at the top of the screen. We're going to go ahead and rename that. I'll name it my little kitty's name, Emelu. I think I might already have one, so I'll put a 2. Make sure that even if you're a contractor, you are writing your estimate in the carrier profile. Carrier profile right there. And then we'll just create. No need to fill out anything else on that screen. Now it's going to open up a separate window with your estimate. So this is where it can get a little tricky if you're newer. Make sure you only have one estimate open at a time. Otherwise, you'll make unwanted changes on the wrong estimate. And I've done it to myself. So if I go back over here, let me just, as an example, open up one of these and show you what I mean. If you have multiple estimating windows open, see, there's the other one I just opened. You can click around and actually it can get really scary. So as a beginner, just make sure you have one estimate window open, and then your dashboard will always be open in a separate window. Okay. So now that we know we only have one estimate open, it's going to take us right to select the price list. So if you don't have any price list on your list here, go ahead and request a price list. If you're in the demo version, all you have access to is the training price list. So you could go look up that name and just start typing in training and then download, and it should bring it up. If you have a live paid version of Xactimate, we can actually download live price lists. Let's get one for one here where I live in Utah. And we'll download, and that'll pull in the new price list here, Salt Lake City. There we go. Perfect. Go next, and that's going to assign that price list. And then it's going to take you to step 1 of the estimating process. So step 1 is fill out your claim info. Step 2 is to actually fill out your sketch. And then step 3 is estimate items. Step 3.5 is photos, and then step 4 is printing your report. So we'll start with step 1, which is claim info. And I'll mention these steps again, so don't worry if you're taking notes. I'll mention those again. But claim info, we're going to just go ahead and fill this out here and get all the particulars. I'm not going to do that for you today, but you do need to fill out name, email, and then the street address. And then the date of loss is important if you're trying to key off of a hail report. Otherwise, I don't enter any of these dates. I don't enter this information here. You could enter a phone number for the insured if you need to, but kind of minimally fill this out as a contractor. Then I like to drop down the hamburger menu here, and I like to make myself the estimator. So if you haven't added yourself yet, drop down this little hamburger menu, click add and get yourself added. Name, I don't think you need your address, but name, number, and email looks good. Address if you want to throw it in there of your company, if you want to do that. So if you're a contractor, I actually want to take take myself off as the claim rep because I'm technically just the estimator. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day. If your name lives here, it's fine. But estimator is the one I like to have filled out. And then the rest of this, I do not fill out. I don't add myself as the contractor. I just want to make sure I'm the estimator. I leave everything else blank. And then I don't fill out anything else on the screen. I don't have to as a contractor. All right, so we're going to go up to coverage losses. You'll notice that I said step 1 is claim info. We're then going to roll through these sub tabs up at the top. Coverage loss. Now, as a contractor, I do want to have the corresponding claim number, and if I can get it, the corresponding policy number. The rest of this is up to the adjuster. I don't have to fill out any of this out. I definitely don't want to add a deductible. The deductible is going to come from the homeowner. This estimate I'm going to write is for the final RCV amount with any depreciation removed. So again, that'll be another video. Don't worry about that language, but I don't add the deductible here. I leave that blank. So claim number, policy number, that's all you need. And then we're going to hook it on over to parameters. Parameters is where your price list lives. So if you need to update your price list, you can go to the hamburger menu. Let's say we wrote this in today's price list, but we didn't do the job till December. Well, I would need to reprice to December's pricing. Okay. Also, sometimes it asks for different tax jurisdictions. Here in Utah, we don't really have one in this zip code. It's different, but sometimes you might see some other ones. You might want to Google what is the correct tax jurisdiction for your address that you're working at. That way you don't leave any money behind selecting the wrong tax rate. The rest of this I leave as the defaults until we come down here for overhead and profit. Very important that if you're a general contractor, you add your overhead and profit. These can vary per state, but usually industry standards, 10% overhead and 10% profit there. And of course, you want to brand your estimate with the company header. So we're going to go ahead and go to the company header hamburger menu. You can add one there and just type in your company name. And I like to put in my street address, email, phone number, and my GC license number in the info. And then for the image, I like to go ahead and throw my company logo in there. So that will brand your estimate. If you want to get fancy, you can also write what's called an opening statement. I write one here. Let's see if we can show there. That mine basically talks about the Xactimate white paper on O&P, and I quote that. This is good for informing the homeowner, not so much for the adjuster. So this is good for homeowner involvement of them seeing why you're asking for overhead and profit, yada yada, and that opening statement. It's not mandatory, but if you can use that verbiage in your favor, I would love, I love to add the overhead and profit white paper verbiage there. Again, another video on overhead and profit white paper if you want to see that. But this is what is called your company header and your opening statement. All right, so parameters is all filled out. I don't use a closing statement. I leave that blank. And then we're going to go to step 2, which is estimate. So in our estimate, when you click on that on the ribbon, it's going to drop down 2 sub menus here. We have our sketch and then we have our estimate items. I was taught that we build our space in sketch and then fill that space in estimate items. Now, if you're a roofing exterior contractor, you actually don't have to sketch anything. You could pull in a hover and eagle view automatically. Again, other videos on YouTube, if you're interested in that, you could automatically pull in the measurements, but it's not necessary. As long as you have your eagle view report, you can just fill out all of the quantities according to that eagle view, hover, or whatever roof measurement report that you use. However, if you're an interior contractor, sketches is necessary for sure. Interior mitigation, restoration, or if you're an adjuster, you will need to know how to use sketch. I'm not going to go in depth in sketch today. I'm just going to keep it really high level and basic. I've got over probably 100 videos on sketch out there. So I do want to show you though how to create just a quick room. So right here, if you hover over room, you can see the shortcut for room is R. You can also just click on it if you want. We're just going to set a 12 by 12 room here. And then I'm going to add some windows and doors. It's W for window. You just click on the wall to add the window. D for door. Click on the wall to set the door. And then I like to rename the room. So I'm just going to name it bedroom 1. All right. We can also put another room right next door just so you know what it looks like over in estimate items. And I'll call this one bedroom 2, just to keep it really simple here and really high level. If you need to know what the ceiling height is or any of the properties of the room, you can always highlight the room and go to this properties here, and it'll tell you the dimensions and lots of things. Everything in Sketch has a property. So if I zoom in and click on the window has properties. You can see the width and base, the width and the height, and then the base height of the window. So this also will inform you what the measurement means. It means that window is 3 foot high up in the wall. Doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Just throw some windows and doors, throw some rooms in there, and just kind of get your feet wet with how this works. Again, other videos explain sketch, but I do highly recommend you measuring your own house and trying to sketch it. That's probably one of the best learning experiences if you are new to Xactimate. So now that we've built our space, let's go fill our space in estimate items. First thing I need you to know over here is that we've got our grouping tree. So grouping tree is where your different spaces live. And the reason you want to pay attention to this, if you start adding labor and materials to your main level, start adding line items here, like let's say, for example, 2 coats of paint. Okay, you can start searching that in our search bar. Some days it plays ball, some days it does not. Paint 2, let's see if it likes that. There we go. Okay, so let's say paint 1 coat, 2 colors, paint 2 coats, 2 colors. There's lots of options here. Let's paint this one here. That is going to take your main level over from Sketch. This is your main level, and paint both rooms. Most insurance companies, most adjusters want to see it broken out per roof and then per room. So with the bedroom here, I'm just going to go ahead and put our line item for P&T P. I'll just paint the walls and ceilings 1 coat. That way this money will reside in the specific room. See that? That's what they want to see. So they want to see your line items in the room that it pertains to. We'll need to move out and reset contents in that room, and so we'll also do the same in the next room. And I can copy and paste here, but I'm just going to show you a few things really quick. Is that it'll take the square footage from the walls and ceilings of the room that we create. So let's say for bedroom 1, we're going to make it a little bit bigger. Let me go back to Sketch. Let's say you make it a little bit bigger here. You'll notice that your line item will automatically correspond and increase the square footage. We're now at 705 square feet. You can also control this in the calculator field. If you've hand measure your room, you can go ahead and enter the exact square footage. You can also tell it, you know what, I just want paint on the ceiling. And that'll show there that C for ceiling, okay? To know what the definitions in the calculator are, you can pull up your calculator and hover over these different areas here. If you just want the linear feet of the ceiling perimeter, that's PC. If you just want to paint the floor, you can do that as well. So most of the times we paint the walls and the ceilings to match, and so that's usually the application. But just so you know, there's some basics there that it will key off of your Sketch dimensions here, and you can see in the properties that the ceiling height is 8 foot in that bedroom, so it's 12 foot by 18 foot 4 multiplied by the ceiling height of 8 foot to get your wall square footage there for you. All right, so that's pretty much how that works as far as getting line items added. There's a lot more to learn here, but I'm trying to keep this high level. One note I want you to make is if, as you're going through and learning Xactimate, you're adding line items, you're finding them here on your search, like let's say we need a ceiling fan. You'll just start to add these guys in. Start clicking on what's click for detail right here. So you'll see click for detail, and it duplicated my light. I don't know why. We have to have your line item selected first, and then you can see click for detail pop up, and that will tell you everything that's included. And a lot of times it'll tell you what's not included. So like with paint the walls and ceiling, it'll say a reasonable amount of prep work is included, yada yada yada, not included. So read these click for details, because that's where people lose money and leave money behind, is by not knowing what they should add to supplement and what actually is included in the line item. So that's where I'd say spend a lot of time reading your click for detail. The other thing I'm going to make a note of in estimate items is you can also search visually. So if you want to go in the bedroom here, you can start to hover and learn what Xactimate calls all of these different wall finishes. They don't call it sheetrock. I'm from New Mexico originally. We called it sheetrock. Nope, that's a brand name. It's called drywall. So some areas of the country call things differently. So it's nice to have this visual reference to figure out what the heck am I looking for. And then you can hover, choose whatever, let's say interior swinging door I want, an interior unit, and then I can just click insert, and that will add that in the background. You see here, interior door unit, and you can search for things visually too, which is very helpful in the beginning if you don't know what everything is called. All right, so that's, I call it step 3 is estimate items. Step 3.5 would be adding your photos. So let me load a couple images here for us. So you've got a couple images. I like to rename them and only include the photos for what I'm asking for, right? So if this had nothing to do with anything, I wouldn't include it. So it's, let's say here where we're looking to get these garage doors replaced, I would do an overview photo, and then I'd include one where we zoomed way in, where I walked up to that door and pointed or circled with chalk the hail hits on the garage doors. So we want to do an overview and then go in further. So those, just an example of some photos that we'll add today. And then step 4 is to go to reports and actually turn your estimate into a PDF. So documents and reports over here. It's going to ask me, do I want to resequence my line numbers? Let me show you really quick what that means. See how I've got number 7, 12, 9, 8 on my line item list? If I don't resequence, here's what's going to happen. Let me show you my screen really quick. It's going to start with 3, jump to 5, 7, 12. It jumps all over the place. So whenever I'm out in the field and I see an estimate that's not been resequenced with the line numbers, I just know that they probably don't know what they're doing, and there's probably a lot of errors. So people who've been using Xactimate for a while and are professional and know what they're doing will always resequence their line numbers. So right here, resequence your line numbers. We can then see that it will put those guys in order. And now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's going to roll on down the estimate. So that's just one little layer of icing you can lay on your cake by resequencing your line numbers. Secondly, whenever you first download Xactimate, it comes in with the report type abbreviated. So abbreviated, we want final draft. So you can go to final draft. And then I only include the cover sheet, line item detail, summary. I leave these 2 blank. It just extends the report. It makes the report really long. And then I usually have the images in the sketch. So I usually take these guys out. Perhaps you're required to include them. That's fine. This is just a personal preference. And then secondly, I like to check my images section here. I want to have 2 images per page. I want to print the image detail, and I do want to check print image annotations. So later on, once you learn how to add annotations to your photos, don't worry about that right now. That's an advanced concept. At least you're set up to print those when you're ready. So remember to resequence. Let's use the final draft report. That's what most adjusters use. And then don't forget to go over to your images and set 2 per page and print image annotations. All right, so let's go ahead and preview this. So I've got my company header here, opening statement here. I'm going to scroll down. I've got my line items here. There we go. And then I've got my labor minimum. You can go learn about those, and they're interesting, but don't worry about labor minimums right now. We just need to get the first estimate out. And then we've got our total with the overhead and profit ready to go. And we've got our 2 photos per page, and we're looking pretty good. All right, so if you want to learn what the top 10 most commonly missed line items are, I know I mentioned to click for detail here, but if you'd like to learn some of the more commonly missed line items that people don't understand or know about, please click down below this video. We have a little resource guide for you on the top 10 commonly missed line items, and really hope you enjoyed this Xactimate 101 video. If you want more basic videos like this, I can do some more basic sketch and some other things. Please like this video so we're sure that we're creating the content that you enjoy and are learning from. And of course, subscribe if you want to get my videos every Tuesday. We release them here on YouTube. So if you have any questions on what I went over, please put your question in the comments. We try to get back to everybody who comments on this, and then make sure to download your line item list from underneath the video as well. My name is Alina Wilson with Estimate Mastery, and hope you have a great week in your business, and I'll see you next Tuesday.